Jesus says that you will see clearly. That you will see clearly. Just looking around this congregation, I would guess that about a third of you are wearing glasses right now, like me. Many more of you are probably wearing some kind of corrective lenses. But maybe you remember that moment when you realized that you needed them. I remember being in the third grade very clearly and being in Sister Mary Agnes's classroom and looking at the board and doing this and her saying, "Johnny Gazaldo, I think you need glasses." Sister, I'm fine, I don't need glasses. And if you went to school in the 70s, the kids who had glasses, if you remember right, they had these big Coke bottle things and your eyes looked this big, and we called them 4 eyes. Dorks, I'm not going to be one of those guys. And I see fine. But sure enough, you go to the doctor and does a little test on you, and then I got taken to the eye doctor. But I specifically remember that moment, and I think it was just a little technician there who grabbed one of the glasses and put them on my face. And at that moment, the whole world became clear and beautiful and sharp. And it was shocking because I didn't realize just how blind I was. I didn't think I was blind at all. Just ask me, I would have told you. But it usually takes something else or someone else acting upon us to realize maybe we had it wrong. Maybe we see things in blurry vision. Maybe we don't have it right. And a lot of times that is a glorious experience. When the curtain comes down and we see reality for what it really is. You know, reading, for me anyway, from reading John Paul II's Theology of the Body, made some curtains come down. Oh, I knew the church's teaching on marriage and chastity. I kind of looked at, celibacy was kind of like a white knuckling thing, and even marriage could be like a white knuckling thing. Chastity, okay. I understand, there's got to be restrictions here. But little did I know that the Lord made us in a certain way and our bodies speak of God, and that chastity is part of the good news. That celibacy and marriage free us up, and that we're made for that. We're made to give ourselves away, all of ourselves away, in order to find ourselves. But I had to have that vision cleared up. I had to have those planks taken out of my eye. I had to have a new set of glasses to realize how good news there was, how good the good news is. Now, it can be a glorious experience when someone acts upon us, acts upon you with our sacraments, and the world looks different. The world comes into focus. It can also be a very challenging and humbling experience when planks are taken out of our eyes and we see things clearly, especially about ourselves. A few months ago, I think I recommended that, that married couples can do that little exercise. We called it the start, stop, continue. But in my second or third year of seminary, we were doing evaluations, like public evaluations in those days. So what that looked like is at the end of my first or second year of seminary, all the first year guys sat in a circle while there was a formator with a little typewriter or his little laptop. And then each guy, we got to tell him one at a time what was good about living with him, what you saw Jesus in him, what they did well. So when it was my turn, I think I went first or second, I heard 25 guys pay me a compliment. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. And then the second round, you're supposed to tell your brother, give him advice on how he can become better. And that was hard to listen to. 25 men had a little Rolodex of things they wanted to tell me how to improve myself there in the seminary, and that was hard to listen to. I saw myself different. I saw them different. I saw the world different. It was good. Things were much more clear and sharp. But it wasn't all that comfortable. Because as you heard today, we cannot have the blind leading the blind. You know, when you do go to the eye doctor after he does all those things, and then he takes his little instrument, turns a little light on, and then looks into your eyeball, you're hoping there's nothing wrong with his eyeball so that he can see your eyeball clearly. That's what he's trained to do for your own good. But anytime we go to these experiences, when someone else or something else acts upon us, that's what baptism is, what God does to us. He changes us. And as those of you who have been studying, we have catechumenates and catechumens. One of the things we ask of them and ask of all of us is to see the world through Catholic eyes. And the only reason to be Catholic, there's only one reason to be Catholic, if it's true. And if it is true, everybody should be Catholic and see the world through Catholic eyes. You know, going through these experiences, like, for instance, a retreat. Friday, I was at a retreat listening to men's confessions. And they'll often say when they leave the retreat, usually the guys on the team who've been on a dozen of these things, when they leave the retreat, the world does look different. They not only feel different, they look different. Everything looks different. Something has happened to them. If you spend 20 minutes in contemplation on the scriptures, and what does that mean? Fancy language. Reading the gospel. Imagining yourself in the scene. In a few weeks, we'll hear from the prodigal son, the good Samaritan, all those in Luke. And how you pray with that is use your imagination. Put yourself in the scene. Take on one of the roles. It's called contemplation, entering the mystery. And let it happen to you. And 5, 10, 15 minutes later, if you go on an Ignatian retreat, you have to agree to pray 4 hours a day. And when you come out of that, you feel, look different, and the world looks different. Your eyes have changed. Something has happened. And we all know that happens in the confessional, when you come out after having verbalized what you've done. And that's hard to do. It's hard to do. And when you hear it, sometimes you think, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that again. Why? Because it's all out there for you to see. It's hard, but it's a corrective. And that presupposes there is a correct way to live. And we have someone who is the best of that. We have a standard for good. His name is Jesus Christ. But luckily, church also gives us kind of 40 days to do that. It's called Lent, Quaresma. Look at Lent, as we're about to enter into here in a couple of days, as your own personal retreat. A retreat you enter into that you change your life. Even the liturgy will change colors. The songs will change. Even the mass will change. There will be no Gloria, no Hallelujah, things like that. And what is that for? It's supposed to be a corrective. To give alms, to pray, and to sacrifice and fast. So that we look at the world and clean out all the gunk in our eyes so that we see the world clearly. You know, I've heard people say things like, well, I haven't been to confession in 10 years. I don't think I need to go. I don't think I do anything wrong. Ask your wife. Ask your kids. Ask your family. They're supposed to serve as a corrective too. If that's your attitude, then you have lots of planks in your eyes. We have lots of planks in our eyes. John Paul II went to confession every week. Once a week. Now, I know I take a chance in saying that. If all of you went to confession once a week, we'd never be out of the confessional. But it leads us into a deeper identity, a closer look at ourselves, maybe a clearing eye of ourselves. Because once we remove the planks from our own eyes, you know, the Lord doesn't say don't judge, just simply not to judge. We don't condemn people. That's wrong. But we do judge people's actions. You're supposed to judge each other's actions. Heck, just watching some of you adults right now with your kids. Stop that. You're judging their actions. And even you will judge my homily today. You're supposed to do that. Assess it. We do that. We don't condemn one another. But as Jesus says, once you move those planks from your own eye, then you can look at your brother or your sister and move the specks in their eyes as a corrective. Because the world today sees things kind of fuzzy. They see things kind of fuzzy, and you're asked to be that corrective. Now, once you have a profound prayer life, a sacramental life, people will call you names. They're not going to call you Four Eyes, but they might call you a Jesus freak or an uber Catholic. Take it as a compliment. Because you're loving them. Even though sometimes you may have to correct their behavior now and then. We do this because we love each other. But you also want there to be peace in this world. In the collect, there's always a prayer for peace in this world. But we also remember from Psalm 51, when even David is saying, I'm sorry for the sin. I'm sorry, God. Heal me, forgive me, so that sinners may return to you. And we can only do that if we pray, Lord, give me clear eyes. Let me see you and the church and the world with clear eyes so that we can have peace and truth, and others may have clear eyes to be brave enough to look at ourselves and the world and act as that corrective so there'll be more clarity in the world around us.